right, let's see. Which camera do I have up? Where am I at? Okay. What is going on? I have never done a YouTube live before, but I've definitely done some other meetings. Probably don't know who I am. My channel has not grown a lot because I have not been on YouTube a lot. And, said I was going to get out there and do some more. My name is Kevin Davis, wholesaler, real estate investor for the past 15 plus years. I've been, doing deals, all different types of deals, transaction engineer. I've done, short sales. I've done wholesales, flips, you have it, you name it. But that's not why I am here today talking to you. I am here because, as you see, the caption says, and I'm sure unless you're under a rock, you will agree that real estate and the world in general has changed because ultimately AI is here. It's, people say it's coming to change, it's coming to take my jobs and things like that. Well, I don't believe that. What I do believe is that people that are adopting AI will be ahead, and those that don't will unfortunately be behind. So we're going to dive in today. I got some stuff that I've been working on. I wanted to share, and I'm going to be, doing lives more often. I'm going to be providing more information, showing business systems that I've built and different tools that I use in my business. Specifically, I'm in real estate, but these are tools that you can use across any, traditional business that you're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I sent out some invites on my other channels. If you're not following me, I'm at K Davis Invest on Instagram, is it Twitter or X now, all the different platforms. So just want to see if this populated because I wanted to share this. Here we go. Let's see. Because nobody's here yet, so that's cool. It's all good. Just waiting for some people to join me. Like I said, I'm new to this, but not necessarily new to getting into meetings and such. I've held meetings about real estate and about different topics for years, so I'm not gonna slow the roll. We're gonna dive right in. It's got some good stuff that I want to just share. And honestly, I'm tired of the scripted and here's the whatever. Do have some information because it's relevant, but otherwise, it's one of those things. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna share this to my groups that I coach, wholesale, all that type of good stuff. All right, cool. And maybe one other. I don't know if I can do that on Instagram. See, I'm not an Instagram guy. I'm not all those, but AI is going to change that for me because I have built out the right systems to, really get this thing going. So I'm not going to slow the roll here. Let's see. So you got to bear with me. I've never used YouTube Live. I've used different other tools, but we're gonna get through it. So just some, let's see, some things up front, then we'll really dive into it. This is cool. So that works. All right, bet. So if you haven't been hiding in the rock, real estate is coming for everything. We are getting YouTube. AI just kind of ingrained in everything you talk about. And really, most people aren't necessarily using it in the way that I think is the most effective. A lot of people are just doing chat bots and, just asking it questions here and there, what about health and things like that. But ultimately, a lot of people with this fear of losing jobs, ultimately you should be taking, AI and, really driving home what you do. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that because there's a ton of opportunity as business owners. I'm an advocate of small business. I'm a small business owner. And ultimately, we don't want to get ran over by AI. We want to have AI join us, co-work with us to actually, take our business forward, increase our return on investment, and all that jazz. So the real estate AI operator system is what I believe is the next generation of that investors will use to find deals. And as it says, before anybody else, typically marketing, and I'm going to be an advocate and say all things are going to change, except they're not. They're just going to be AI enhanced. So speed to lead, data analysis, feedback on, stuff. It's just going to get faster. And if you are an operator that have principles and SOPs in place and things that, you should be having in place as an operator, then the transition is going to be easier for you, because I went through the transition and I'm loving it. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing with AI, how I'm using it in my business, how I'm helping other business owners use it as well. So let's dive into it. So again, most investors compete with the marketing, whether that's direct mail, the driving for dollars, cold calling. The next generation will compete based on information, but they're also going to plug that information directly into those sources we just talked about. The problem, you're chasing the same deals. We hear it everywhere. MLS is dried up. There's all these sellers are, not necessarily looking to sell for a price that makes sense. Does it make sense to them? Probably. Does it make sense to you as a deal finder? Probably not. We're in a market transition right now where people are just kind of up and down about what is actually happening and where they need to land. A lot of realtors are out of business. I see a lot of wholesalers that are on my list. I follow a ton of wholesalers in my market. I'm in the Baltimore market. And a lot of them aren't sending deals out. I've never sent, huge volumes of deals out because I like to shut something down. Okay. So my live stream's still there. Awesome. So I didn't lose you guys there. Well, show goes on. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm still there. If anybody can let me know. All right. So ultimately, more competition, you're shrinking margins. We hear it all in the news everywhere, that deals are just not the same. But in a small segment of, investors, you hear, hey, we're getting things leaner. We're diving back in. We're clearing up, bad pipelines. We're, getting more in front of sellers before everyone else. Those best deals are invisible because they have the process in place and they're enhancing that process that they already have. So if you have a bad process, guess what? You're going to enhance that bad process and really not get any results. So you're going to, what they say, throw money in the wind. Ultimately, you need to be more abreast or of what is it called? You need to be more aware of what's going on, what can help you, the tools and resources and necessary that you can get in your business to actually run efficiently and not get ran over by this AI locomotive that is coming for, pretty much everyone. If you're not, really diving in, this is what I call the innovator period right now. People who are, learning, early adopters, really, but this is what, like they say, this is one of the fastest adoptions that we've seen, the internet and all that. But, ultimately, we got to adopt quickly. So the best deals, where are they coming from? Distress signals, the probates, the inheritance, the COVID, we all know this already, right? So why can't we, get those deals? Why aren't we finding those deals? Why are deals getting tighter and tighter? What's going on? Well, we're not picking up the signals, or we don't have the necessary manpower to get those signals fast enough. Joe Blow around the corner, he's ingrained in AI. He's ingrained in the data. He understands the cadences. He understands the nuances of the things that are signals for these particular types of deals. So you have to understand that, if you are going to play the game of diving in and actually having a broader perspective, because what AI now is going to be able to do, as opposed to you having to go, completely narrow or niche, you can go both, because you can get a very, very accurate data analysis done consistently with AI. And we're going to talk through what that looks like as well. All right. So here's the next generation, the rise of the AI operator is what I'm calling it. Your co-work operating system. So you have your data that comes in. How does that come in? Traditionally you would either hire virtual assistants or you would get a subscription service or what have you. Great. Both of those things still work. You can, hire an assistant who would get that data either online or maybe even go to a courthouse or somewhere like that. Well, now that is automated. You can have that data stream come in immediately. And I don't mean just the subscription data services. I mean the actual services or websites that house data that are, data silos, as I call them. A data silo is specifically a place where you can't, access the data easily. There's no downloadable, click and download. Your probate records a lot of times are those types of silos. You have to dig into the information, potentially request, documents or look through documents or, search through deeds and deeds of trust and things like that. Well, ultimately, AI can lower that barrier and go right past the gate. You get that automated research, pull in those lists, dump it into your system, nice clean data crunching happening, and you can do extremely targeted outreach. And I'm not talking, once a month we target, we sit down and this can be a sift through process daily. So understand your workflow needs to adapt with AI in the picture now. The old days of how we do things are over. I remember when I started, we would go to a file cabinet and have a huge file cabinet of files. We would take out, November's list, go through and see if anybody still, hasn't sold. They sold, throw it in the trash. They sold this one, sold, throw it in the trash. We didn't have a robust system because there wasn't one built. Over the last 15 or so years that I've been in the business, or actually 20 years I've been in the business, I've seen different things happen. Different softwares have come about. The first iteration was, we went from a list of data files on a CD to, you had internet downloads. So now you didn't have to go and pick up a CD or get a huge subscription service for a database that's going to be outdated the next day anyway. Now you have downloads. You can get subscription services. And now we're in the next phase, which is aggregate data immediately. You can aggregate that data. You can crunch it down. You can compile it and figure out, what signals exist and be first to market directly without having to even look at the data in many cases. You're setting parameters. So you need to understand how to manipulate these tools to be better suited and understand exactly what you are being able to do with them in terms of getting your business done. The AI real estate operator stack that we operate under. So we intelligence layer, we want to make certain that we get in the right data. We are looking through that for, proper signals to say, hey, upfront prior to us reaching out, we are looking for some sort of signal that says this is a good hot opportunity for us to reach out to. So you have a hot prospect versus a hot lead, so we're trying to get ahead of that, ahead of the conversion cycle as quickly as possible. We're trying to get as far ahead of the conversion cycle as possible. AI is allowing us to do that. The property research, I can put a property address into my system and it gives me a score or price, offer price immediately based on parameters that we've been able to set. Now, this works in all different types of businesses. You have parameters, or you should have SOPs and parameters that say, hey, we do things this way. This is how we calculate stuff. This is what the register looks like. This is how you stack burgers. This is how you, whatever the case may be. Those SOPs are what you are feeding your AI assistant. If you don't know how to do that, we're going to be going over, how to create SOPs, tools that we are developing from our own processes that we already have in place to help other investors, other business owners develop these processes inside their business. It's going to be great, guys. We're working on something huge. All right. So we have the AI assisted outreach. We have your intelligence layer first. You're gathering information. You're figuring out what those signals are. Your deal detection. Hey, Kay, can we sift through that information and actually figure out what is stuff that's relevant? Because, huge data pools are great, but sometimes all of it, the information is not relevant. There are signals that are actually correct, or, the higher higher, what do you call it? A higher capacity to make it, to make someone make a decision, essentially a motivator. So that motivator may not be what that particular list is. I do consultation with other investors, and I was sitting down with an investor and his team, and they were just crunching and going through, and we have all of this data, and we have so much data, and we do this and we do that, and I start going through their SWOT analysis, that I take them through, providing their back end information and such. And the one thing that was immediately apparent to me is they didn't know what they were looking at in terms of their data. All of their data was equal. So if they had a code violation, it was the same, grass cut, grass, high grass and weeds was the same as a, probate, who's maybe vacant and, or whatever. The case is they weren't really digging into their data. They didn't know what they were looking at. They didn't have the insight to really say, okay, well, should we even be targeting this? Should it even be in our pipeline? Are we wasting time? Things like follow-up that you can, it takes a lot to get in touch with people these days with spam filters, with, the regulations that have come down in the last couple of years. All of these things are barriers that are just being put up. Barrier here, barrier there, barrier here, barrier there. And you need to be able to get lean and understand and lean into what is actually working. So we're focused on helping, investors and ourselves, move the needle forward in terms of what they're doing in their business. The intelligence layer. So, the AI scans all of this. You have to set it up, but, it scans it. Probate filings, obituaries, tax defaults, code violations, ownership periods. What else? We said code violations. Pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, auctions. I mean, all of the different distressors. You can find a complete list of the distressors on our site, link in the description or on my bio somewhere. You'll find it. But ultimately, there are a ton of distressors, but all of them and also area by area are not real motivating factors. You may be in one area that water shutoff is something that's huge there, or because they actually go to tax sale. Because of that, it's municipal lien. In my market, that doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I've never heard of it happening. So do I pull the water shutoff list? Probably not. It's just not a motivating factor here. So understanding what your personal intelligence is and matching that with AI is how you're going to be able to win. Or have you documented your processes? Do you know exactly how to do things that you can hand it off? If you were to hire someone today, do you know how to hand that off to them? Do you have an SOP playbook for them to follow exactly what you do in your business? Is that something that you can do? Well, we can help you build that. AI can help you really put that together. And I'm going to show you guys, what it can do. All right, so we're almost done here. I just want to give you kind of a broad perspective and overview of what we're up against here. So property intelligence, they generate the intelligence report immediately. And I'm not saying that, hey, it's perfect, but you are providing the parameters. So this is something you've done every day, and you know back of your hand, hey, this is my formula, whether that be the a cap rate formula or ROI formula or a certain return cash wise or whatever the case may be. You can dictate that exactly and come pretty freaking close to what you're offering. Well, we have a deal right now, and we're just getting done. Supposed to close here in a couple of days or maybe in a week or so. And I gave it to AI after I made certain, this is prior to the deal was locked up, prior to us actually getting most of our systems. We're probably about 90% there of all of our systems automated. And that deal we looked at and said, okay, let's, this is a real deal. We've vetted it, we marketed it, we, about lined up, the investment partner that's working with us on it. Essentially, that is a situation that we said, okay, let's throw it in AI. We have a real, and we can do that with a number of different, but it was just the most recent deal. and the numbers came back so close to what our offer was calculated down to be, based on us just providing them, the AI, the information, and us, adjusting the models and things that we're working with. So it's just really important that you understand what the power that you can do with this software that's now in the midst of all of us. So the dispersed property engine, that data is detected, is reported to you, and prioritized. Again, we flag our data, up front. Is it a good prospect? Is it a bad prospect? Are there clear indicator signals of actual opportunity to work with this person and provide them value? If not, then why am I reaching out? Or maybe it's a low priority, and maybe I have the data. I've already gathered all the information. I have contact information that was already provided to me. Is it a full file? That maybe we should do some low end marketing. So you're able to make quick decisions and systemize those decisions for you to be able to get the best bang for your buck by understanding where you can plug data in, where you can make the corrections or the adjustments that are needed in order for you to move forward. So traditional investors, one lead list, some manual research, cold callers, 4 deals. AI operator, data, automated research, prioritized research, maybe 5 deals. Speed and intelligence. You cut out the manual research. You can cut out the cold calling, although I'm still an advocate of cold calling. I think it just should be done in a proper, flow and in a proper manner. But you get the competitive advantage of speed and intelligence when you add your AI data, AI operator, your co-work operating system into the mix. So the Westers who win in the next decade, mailing lists, cold callers, all right, marketing budgets, that's cool. But those who are adopting the right systems, intelligence, automated research pipeline, and just really leaning into investing in an AI system that makes sense, are going to be playing the marketing game specifically. They're just literally at that point, it's just a numbers marketing game, because you're not necessarily just looking for that 0.5% return. There'll be no direct mail does something like that. We're pinpointing, okay, these particular ones could indicate, and being able to project forward even more and get there quicker than our competition if we're set up properly. All right. So what does all that really mean? Kevin, great. Awesome. That you add AI in. Everybody knows that, Kevin. Who cares? In my business, we fill in the gap. We use AI. I look up Chat GPT all the time for, really, studies indicate most people aren't using AI in the most efficient way possible. And I'm going to, lean into specifically business owners. I am a big advocate of business owners. As I said, I'm a small business owner. I come from small business owners. My father's a small business owner. And that was, my eye-opening experience was that, I personally dove into, systems and operations for years. I don't know if, how many people remember or still are on, Podio with GlobiFlow. When, that dropped, or when that was out, it was the hottest rage. I know a lot of operators are still on that system now, but, ultimately there is a lot better system. And what I distinctly recall is for about 1.5 years doing deals, but at the same time, I was up every single night adding code in and trying to figure out the mark. I was literally trying to build this AI system that I now can build easily. I'm not a coder. I'll say that, right now. I'm not a coder. I didn't go to school for coding. I actually avoided doing coding in school when I was changing, when I was changing majors. So, from a person who literally avoided trying to get into that field, for years, and then ultimately in business with processes and things that I was trying to automate for years, it led me to to this. And AI is one of those places that is really going to change how we all do things, not only business but personally as well. So enough of me rambling. If you're not sure what that means, how to be an intelligent system investor, I'm just going to show you some examples of things that I'm doing. Ultimately, here we go. So my deep dive. Let me just move this. You gotta excuse me. I'm not really gonna go very technical. So my deep dive started in understanding real estate tools. Exactly what am I looking at? What's available, what's out there, what can I do with it? Ultimately, I being somewhat technical, did the thing that I typically do. I started researching and figuring out, okay, how can I use it? And ultimately, what I really found is that um, ultimately I can build my own processes. I can do things that make sense. And one of my processes that I have in place is to research AI tools, to find it, new tools in real estate, to make those available to my students, to use them in my own business, to network and bring people. And so one of the things I first built and said, okay, well, I don't have time to really dive into every single tool, or do I? So I'm a big advocate of, I use co-work, and that is actually the backbone of our premier tool that we're, currently developing. It, ultimately, what I like to do is understand exactly what a tool does and does it solve my problem. Like I said, I went through the pain of trying to, tailor Podio to my liking for years. That year and a half was just kind of part of that. That was like my deep dive session, but I was deep into it. And, since I've continued to build out process, continued to work on, different tools and processes. And now with AI, it just makes more sense as a business owner to be able to systemize your tools. I'm gonna charge other businesses. You may not be in the real estate space. You may be in the I don't know, plumbing business. You might be an electrician. You might be a hairdresser. You might be whatever the case may be. AI will allow you to do things that are going to help your business and give you some additional uh, opportunities, open up opportunities for you. And we're going to deep dive into that more. Not today exactly. We're working out a nice uh, tool for that. But ultimately, you can see here we have, and this is still rough. These are kind of more placeholder numbers. We don't have all the tools that we are finding in the system yet. But ultimately, we are going to be providing those as we find them as a newsletter to subscribers for the best AI real estate tools. DataFlick, we know they're a great data house. This is a personal tool I've actually built myself. And we're still, kind of in the beta rolling out point. I'm not going to focus on that, although I will show you guys what that looks like. But I built the site specifically around my idea that, hey, I want to understand about what is happening in the real estate space, specifically around, this. I mean, there's Chat GPT and there's, Claude Code and there's, Gemini and there's this and there's that. But, how are business owners specifically using this content or this um, information and leverage in their business? And so we've started putting together a great list of tools specifically for real estate. You can certainly submit a tool if you're building a tool. I'd love to connect with you. If you're a tool owner, we'd love to be able to talk with you as well. We're going to have obviously some resources made available. Advanced technique guides as I continue to provide information with our automation processes and our back end SOPs and all the different things that we utilize for real estate business. We're going to really just beef up exactly what is a resource for investors to be able to find the actual tools that we use in the business. I'm going to show you one of the tools that I did build. Like I said, here we go. Where are we? Oh, here we go. And that, before I do that site, let me tell you about the site first. So not only is it a place for me to, say, hey, we researched and provided you guys opportunity to, take a look at what tools are out there, what tools are available, but it actually searching for us. It's bringing forward tools. It's making certain that we're aware of market industry changes and, industry information. So the newsletter is going to be compiled of all of those different tools we find, all the different information and articles we find, the actual workflows and, different tasks and skills that you can provide to your AI assistants. Now, we know everyone isn't going to, interact directly because they're not necessarily building certain things. The interfaces, in my opinion, for most tools that are, they're not extremely user friendly. They're not for the everyday, person. We're committed to making certain that tools and things get broken down to so the everyday person can really take advantage of the systems and processes and leverage that you get from AI. So keep an eye out. We have a really nice tool coming, and just finishing it up, polishing it, and we'll get it out soon. But let's see, what else am I doing? So we built that site. It generates information. It's from our own personal, this is something that we were doing already. So let me just break it down here. Business owner, you're abreast of new things that happen in your industry. So if you're a plumber, you get industry information. You get, new techniques, new codes, new whatever. We are in the business of real estate, so we need to be abreast of market conditions, changes in laws, tools that we use, hence AI, all of those different things. So this is something born from our business, born from what we already do. We already were staying abreast of information, staying abreast of tools. This takes it off our plate, makes it easily accessible because I can come here, as my search provides me those tools. I get the newsletter myself. I can read it very digestibly, understand what's specifically real estate involved, network with other investors that are, doing this type of stuff, reach out. But ultimately, it allows us to understand exactly what's available out there specifically for, real estate that people are, innovating. There's some really nice, cool tools out there that I'm, happy to, bring to you guys. And that's something that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing tool breakdowns. All right. So let's see. So this is the first site. Now, it's actually not my first project, but the first that was built, and it's live. So you can check out at bestairealestatetools.com and see the tools. Submit your tools, and that's one of the big things. If you have processes that you are using in your business and you don't know how to make it a repeatable process, something that you can work with AI, we can help you do that. But if you already do, we can show you how to turn that into other business opportunity right out of your business. So definitely be interested in talking more for those individuals that are interested in that. All right. So here's a tool I'm very passionate about because it's something that I specifically want to use. If you are like me and you've been in the business for a long time, that you've gone out. Let me give you a scenario. You got, a property seller, willing to negotiate, willing to talk. You got an appointment, they're willing to come out. You've gotten a contract already. You need to do an inspection. Maybe you're sending a contractor out or someone in your team to do the inspection. Ultimately, what happens is a couple different things. Either they show up and the appointment goes great, or they show up and the appointment goes bad. Those are kind of different options. But ultimately, what I have personally done, and this has been a process of mine for many years, and I know many other investors do, when you go out to an appointment, period, you also looking for other opportunities. So on the way there, you may be looking around, seeing if there's any vacants, or trying to figure out if there's any opportunity in the area, because obviously you're marketing there, or why would you be there if it wasn't a target market of yours? Because your marketing is generating this for you. So ultimately, I've gotten there, did whatever we needed to do. It was a great situation. It wasn't, whatever the case may be. And then, ultimately, the appointment ends. I want to, maximize my time. Hey, we always talk about maximizing time and making sure that, we're doing things productively. So what do you typically do? Oh, let me drive around the neighborhood again. Let me drive around a little bit aimlessly in some cases. Maybe you find something, most of the time you don't. And then, I'm gone. Or even worse, that was an hour-long trip or more. They didn't show, or maybe they didn't go well. And now you have an hour drive back or more, depending on what time you gotten out there. And that's a ton of time wasted. Well, the concept here is that understand that you have options with regards to when you do things. And one of the things we want to do is understand that, marketing is a layered process. So what I mean by that is you have your funnel of marketing, and at the top of your funnel, you fill it up with all these distressing situations or all these particular reasons that you think someone might want to sell. All right. And we start to sift through it and figure out, even with AI, we go through it and we say, okay, these are the ones that are, best opportunities. And we do our marketing outreach, whether that's, cold calling or SMS or, whatever the case may be, ultimately we get to a point where we've not made contact in many cases. Typically we should, because we've mailed them, and they've not responded. We've ring this voicemail them, they're not responded. We've texted them, they're not responded. We've reached out to different relatives. We, exhausted some framework, and we've just not gotten anywhere with it. Typically, we should show up at the house. We should figure out, hey, are they even getting my mail? Are they getting my calls? Am I completely off on reaching to anyone from here? We should do a property health check, is what I would call it. But ultimately, we're going there, door knocking, figuring out, hey, are you there? Are you not there? Is this property now abandoned? Can I talk to a neighbor and say, hey, they're in the nursing home, up the street, or whatever the case may be? Ultimately, we should be doing a purposeful outreach to those people that we're not reaching, because typically that's, where our opportunity exists, is those people that we've not reached. Those that we have reached, we've been able to properly qualify them. We know whether they want to sell, or they might want to sell, or they are ready to sell. We've already properly qualified them. Those that are sitting in our CRM, your data, which I think is the moat. I'm going to stand on the sandbox for a moment. I think your data is the most important thing that you can clutch onto moving forward and partner up, co-work with AI and get your, co-work operating system in place to really drive home the opportunities that you aren't able to take advantage of now. Because ultimately, you're going to have to do the next thing that somebody else wouldn't do. I got to do one more thing, because opportunity can, it's here, it's not. Take advantage of every piece of opportunity you got. So this is my personal, hey, I love to be able to, I'm in a neighborhood, and, ultimately I'm kind of maybe driving around. I remember I did have a lead I talked to maybe a month or 2 or 3 ago in this neighborhood. And this is a hot neighborhood. I wonder if, or I had 10 of them, or whatever the case may be. I wonder, you wonder because you're there, but ultimately either you're going to pull over and maybe try to find it in your CRM if it's hooked up to your mobile device, which it should be. But oftentimes, you're not going to remember if you're actually, generating enough opportunity to be, getting things done. You're probably not going to remember off the top of your head, or your, person is going to remember off the top of their head, because, maybe you passed that to a different team member. And, all of these things are factors, but we should be taking the next step. And that next step for me was getting in the car and door knocking, as many people do. I like to combine the two. I want a purposeful drive. I honestly, I don't like the door knocking directly, but if I'm going by there, I'll stop by and knock on the door and see if Susie's home. So that's where this idea I want you to understand is that you as a business owner have ideas in your head that you can bring to fruition and bring to market, because I'm certain others that do door knocking can take advantage of this. If you go on appointments belly to belly, you'd love to be able to get out there and say, hey, I have 5 houses that haven't responded to me in the last 30, 90, 60, whatever days. I need to figure out what's going on. And by the way, this is it's just giving it to me. It's just, the system is set up to just provide me that opportunity to be able to take advantage and warm those leads back up. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about this. I'm, deep diving it in my business, but ultimately, these are the problems. You drive to every appointment, missing conversion opportunities, unresponsive people in the CRM already, and you're driving without strategy. Whether it's, I'm targeting a neighborhood, I'm driving up and down. I know sure, great. Most investors don't do it. You just don't have time. But you do go to your appointments. If you're a one-man show, even if a team, you send people to the appointments. Revive those dead leads, those dead prospects. Maximize the existing work that you're doing. This is work that you've already done. You have gone through painstakingly and identified which people you're not getting a hold of. And then from there, knock on the door, flyer. So this kind of is built really to help your direct mail. If you do direct mail, great. You don't know sometimes if that mail piece is, hey, they came back. Ooh, is it vacant? Is it not? I don't know. Should I get out there? And probably. If it's a hot opportunity and you got to the point of your marketing process where it qualified for mail, most likely it's probably going to qualify for you to get out there and figure out what's going on with the property too. So ultimately, you want to understand, how to get those cold leads more discoverable. And it works with your existing setup. That's the beauty of it. I'm a systems guy. I plug into a lot of different systems. So we wanted to make certain, that it did that for you as well. So ultimately, I'm using it. We're in beta right now, working with small, teams that are using the program, as we continue to develop it. But ultimately, this isn't a pitch. I'm sure you could probably use not more in your system, in your business, but this isn't a pitch for this product. This is a understanding of what you can do with your systems, with your business processes, with your ideas that you have in your own silo. You should be taking advantage of your business opportunity, because ultimately you have knowledge. You don't want to go out of business because AI ran you over. You want to apply AI to help your business and enhance it, increase your revenue. Information is king. You want to make certain that information, the right processes, the right tools, and using them properly. And that's a big key of it, is using the tools properly. Making certain that you understand exactly what is the process to taking these tools and actually winning. Do you have your intelligence system in place? Do you have your automated research pipeline in place? Do you have your assisted operators in place? Are you traditional or your AI operator? Are you going to wait until AI takes over everything and not put in place different pieces that'll help you enhance what you're doing already? It's not a pitch. Again, I'm going to be building. So here is what else I can show you guys as well. One second. Let me open this window. And I'm hoping he doesn't see this, but this is the type of thing that I'm excited about. what is this? What does real estate have to do? Oh, that's not really. This is plaster. But ultimately, this is my father's website. I built him for this for his birthday. He's a very extremely skilled plasterer. He does historic renovation stuff, high end government work, Venetian, moldings and all types of stuff. That is a very good craftsman. And ultimately, he's not having a website before. He's not very technical. He's not in that space. But what I was able to do is take AI and the information that I know that needed and build this site for him quickly. Now, okay, Kevin, yeah, sites get built all the time, not a big thing. However, what we've been able to do because we understand processes, we understand the tools that we put together. You know, ultimately, our site that we demoed earlier, where we provide all the different tools and such, we understand how to do outreach with AI. We understand how to have a back end system that's actually, working on your behalf while you're in your business working. My father is definitely not on a computer in most cases, but he has outreach to the specific leads and opportunities that he is open to look at. I mean, he's review requests. It's not hey I need the job. It's hey are you not booked up? He's looking at projects at the end of the quarter because he's booked up. But ultimately, I was able to put this together with a couple prompts based on the AI systems that I use and using my back end processes that I've already mastered. My SOPs and such. So this is ultimately you can see different areas where historic renovations are done with plaster, Venetian plaster, all the different types of things go along with it. This is a back end or a full SaaS website that reaches out to the specific parties that he is looking to do, makes contact and attempts to get opportunities brought to his inbox. We're able to set up his training program that he's going to be doing to actually teach. And based on our AI system, we can, get him qualified candidates, individuals that, workforce development type of outreach that, pulls people in. So my point is you can do a ton with your business and really take AI and, get things moving, quickly, organized, all different types of things. But, I have some more tweaks to do to this, but he's going to get this fully customized website for him done, pretty easily with AI baked in the back end that he does not have to worry about. And that's what I'm building for others. I built the site here for our directory of tools and in the newsletter. We have a portfolio here for his architectural, ornamental plaster, Venetian plaster, and historic preservation, things. Ultimately, you can take AI and do this types of stuff pretty easily. His press releases, his areas of expertise, his training program, his back end information. All of that was done through prompting, through some tweaking, connecting different tools, different processes that I use in my business already. So I say that to say, the processes and the tools and things that you have in your business, you should be taking advantage of in order to maximize the return on investment for your business. If you're not, you're behind. It's just an ultimate goal. If I'm one person, putting together, to make certain that I understand for my business first and foremost what exists in the landscape of AI tools for real estate specifically. If you're not paying attention, to your business or to what people in your business and industry are doing, you're going to get left behind. You're going to not be able to keep up. It's going to be something that, ultimately you'll go out of business. And we're hearing, industry, widely that people are losing their jobs in real estate and many other industries. Are you going to be one of those people, or are you going to take advantage of AI and move forward? We are, or I'm going to be providing more and more trainings. And let's see, I did not. There's one other item I wanted to show you guys what I use, my tools that I use for designing. Let's see, actually working while I'm here. All right. So this is VS Code. I use VS Code as opposed to others because I'm a little bit more. I won't say I'm a little bit more technical. I do understand the actual processes. So I understand flow. I understand backend. I understand putting together tools. And this can be a little bit daunting. When I initially um, started using it, and see, you can see I have a couple different projects. My executive assistant project, marketing manager, sales manager, um, our 3D print store that we're going to be launching, um, different AI tools projects. Our site, our best in real estate tool site. We have a lot of different things that we are planning on launching with AI because it allows you to be very, very focused and leverage a lot of tools that will be make you extremely, extremely productive. Uh, yeah, see, it looks like I hit my limit, so I have to re up some plan money. But I've just had a ton of different things I've done in our business to allow us to automate things and to really dive in to making things easier. So if you're not, I repeat, if you're not using AI, if you're feeling intimidated, if you're not, understanding exactly what you can do or how you can, add it to your business, I understand. It can be very intimidating. A lot of the just large modal models don't really give you a clean interface, a clean, okay, well, here's what I work in and here's what I do. And then, you do this. And it's not extremely organized and clean. So we are going to be bringing a tool to the market that changes that opinion. In my opinion, I think it's going to be great. More on that. Keep watching. But if you enjoyed, content like this, this is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be doing live builds. So I typically do lives in my school community. We'll be doing AI tools for not only real estate, but other business processes, you know, live builds for products that may go on our, tool site that, might be just, skills and other types of giveaways and such. But ultimately, I'm happy to bring information and try and provide some clarity around how you can actually take AI and use it in your business, systematically for what you already do. It's an easy transition for us, given the back end processes we already had in place. And I know that could be daunting for individuals to say, hey, well, I know what I do, and I know how I do it, and what have you. But ultimately, if you only know it, then if you're down, if you're sick, if you're what have you, it doesn't get done. And we know as business owners, as small operators, as large operators, when people disappear and tasks don't get done, the needle doesn't get moved. So if the needle doesn't get moved, the register doesn't ring, and ultimately we go broke. AI is your co-work team to be able to take and move things forward that you might not. I mean, I've cleared up my my calendar in terms of my to-do list. So much just adopting AI. It's just been such a breath changing or breath what is it breathtaking, breath changing, whatever you call it, experience because again, all the things that I'd like to do and need to do are, some of the things that I like to do and I need to do are two different things. You put activity where it's needed in order for you to be able to, do the things you'd like to do. And sometimes we never get to those like to do things. Well, with AI, I have been able to punch through my different lists. Knockmore has been a project of mine for a long time, and I kind of picked it up when AI tools first came out, when some of them were a little bit clunky. And now that things have kind of settled and there's somewhat better tools, it was a much easier build for me. Although it wasn't easy at all, it was a lot easier getting through. Um, our site, Best AI Real Estate Tools, that is something that's continually, getting updated, and we're refining it. But it's an easy process for us. The site I built for my father, we're incorporating, his biography, his photos, his, history that we can, scrape and find and gather, and ultimately provide to him as a site. I would, pay a ton of money for the type of site that is, ultimately for many people because of the back end processes that are built with it. You can be that product solution person, or, building, whether it's websites or virtual assistants or flows for his back end. I didn't even mention this. We have to install his virtual assistant right on his site. So ultimately, he'll have a complete business system built in to his processes, just based on the website. Some invoicing, some light invoicing, some light accounting, some virtual assistant services. Automated responses, automated outreach. All of these things are baked in based on the processes that we know how to do and incorporate into a product like this. Like I said, it's a gift. My dad, is very special to me and our family. He does a lot for a lot of people, and we wanted to make certain that he got something that he's been wanting for. I think he just never got around to it. Quite honestly, he gets he gets work because he's very highly sought. But ultimately, we want to put a place that people can contact him and they understand what he does, because ultimately, as business owners, we don't work with everyone. I don't buy every house that we go out to. Some houses just don't qualify, and ultimately, I'm helping build in a qualifier to get some of the right clients. How are you doing that in your business? Are you offering that services to others to get qualifiers and help them get through the gaps that they may have? These are the things that we're going to be talking about here on the channel. Welcome. If you like it, give me a like and a subscribe. We're going to be talking more and more. We do definitely builds in our school, so we'll be actually doing builds from scratch, working on projects school community members submit, going in and doing analysis on different types of automations, not just AI, some other stuff that's going on. And ultimately, what I'd love to be able to happen is, based on these skills that you build with me, you'll be able to take your business processes and automate them to the point you're 90%, maybe even 100% out of the business. And then also take whatever processes you have and offer them to your industry. Because like Knockmore, we have some other stuff coming out. This is just processes that we have built in and we baked in, and we understand what happens. We understand, the nuances of that process, and we're offering a product based on that people will find value in and be able to, increase their return on investment from that. So ultimately, our goal is to provide assistance for small business owners, primarily real estate investors, but a lot of these tools are, cross, like you saw, they're cross platform or across, what's the term, industry. But yeah, I would love to be able to connect. DM me tools if you'd like to, connect, or really, if you'd like to connect, you can join me in our Slack in our school community, which is free at the moment. Yep, currently free. So we'll see how long that lasts. We're definitely going to be providing extreme value. Ultimately, our wholesaling courses will just be slightly adjusted to make certain that's integrated into what we believe is the best operating system with AI, your co-work operating system for AI that you'll get. So stay tuned for more. We're definitely going to be releasing that. And check out Knockmore. Let me know what you think in the comments. Check out the site. Let me know what you think. If you have a tool, I'd love to take a look at it. Submit it in the tool section. We'll go ahead and vet it. We may even demo it on the podcast. We're going to dive into demoing more tools, building more tools, specifically for our industries, and ultimately how you can turn those tools into a side business. I'm interested in working with operators who would like to do that specifically. So I am going to wrap it up there, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.